Gene Simmons has said rock is dead. He's clueless. This is the Rock and Roll Weatherman. My name is Sean Morrison, and he made this latest proclamation on an episode of the Zach Coon Show. He was asked if he believed rock was still dead. He replied, "It is," and people don't understand how he can say that when we have all our favorite songs and we love our favorite bands, you and I and everybody else. But what I mean is that, well, let's play a game. And he said he's done it before, that from 1958 until 1988, which is 30 years, what came during this period, Elvis, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, all that Pink Floyd, the solo artist, David Bowie, the music that lasts forever. And we like to think in the disco world, you had Madonna, more heavy guitars, you had, oh God, AC/DC and everybody else, Aerosmith, on and on. The Motown scene was there at the same time. You had Prince, you had a very rich musical menu. It can go up and down. You had prog bands. You had Yes, Genesis, Gentle Giant. I actually don't know who they are. You had the heavy bands, Led Zeppelin, and so on until from 1988 until today, it's something like 40 years, certainly 35 years. Who are the new Beatles? This is funny though. When this guy Kuhn suggested Nirvana, Simmons indigested and said, "Stop, we are blinded." He goes, he's a major fan. Oh, brother. I never liked Nirvana from day one. Janaki knows that. I know other people know it too. And if you walk down the street next to a 20-year-old who's the bass player of Nirvana, they would know what you're talking about. Can you sing a Nirvana song? No, no, no. The Beatles, and to slightly less extent, the Stones and Elvis, and everyone knew the Beatles. If you hated rock music, you would know about them. By the way, he says he's delusional enough to people to believe some market reports about how the Kiss faces are the most recognized faces on the planet. He says he's tried this before. You walk down the street, it randomly makes people who's on Mount Rushmore. They say Elvis. They won't get it until they know those four faces anywhere you go. They may hate the band, but you can't deny it. Friends, if you're not subscribed to the Sean Morrison YouTube channel, please do so. Everyone else has to subscribe. We thank you much for the continued love, honor, and support. It is greatly appreciated. And I know, unfortunately, people, I remember going into, some of the rock clubs I used to go to back, but late 80s and then, of course, in the early 90s. And I remember it was 1993, and the owner of one club, one of the owners, co-owners, this was a little more in Brooklyn, and, this is when hair metal reached its peak and everything, and all Pearl Jam and Nirvana was unfortunately the only thing on radio. He looked at me and he said, "Rock is dead." He goes, "Rock is dead." And I said, "I wish not, but it's the music I like." And then at the time, there was a band called the Spin Doctors. Janaki, you remember a band, the Spin Doctors?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
they had that song "Little Miss Can't Be Wrong." Wasn't a fan of it.
I used to see a lot of, like, clubbing back in the day. We used to see a lot of cover bands for them.
Yeah, because they had that one big album that they got popular with.
Yeah.
And now, apparently, the owner of the club, the club had four owners, I believe. They were partners, but he goes, the spin, try to get the Spin Doctors. They don't want to play because they think it's a rock club. And that was kind of funny, if you know what I'm saying. And going on, he goes on to bands like um, what do you say? He says there's still a market for stuff from 1907, evidenced by the many legacy rock artists who have announced massive tours for 2045. You got acts like Greta Van Fleet. Not a fan of them, but I've heard of them. They debuted inside the Billboard Top 10, filled arenas off the strength of their classic rock. Coldplay. And then the new Beatles. Who's he saying? Maybe Taylor Swift. Oh, brother.
Oh boy.
I'm just reading some of this. I know I'm blabbing.
Oh.
His quick dismissal of Nirvana on the basis that no casual fan knows Christy Novoselic's name rings hollow. Honestly, I never listened to Nirvana. I'm gonna be dead honest. I know. I mean, I've heard their songs, unfortunately, but it wasn't like I wanted to listen to their songs 24 hours a day. But if you're not a fan of a band, you're not gonna know who they are.
Exactly.
I know there's a lot of music that I listen to from Frontiers Records, with a lot of those bands from overseas and everything that I might not know the names of all the musicians right off the top of my head because unfortunately that's the way it is sometimes, you know.
Right.
But there you go. That's Gene Simmons saying rock is dead. Do I feel rock is dead? I don't feel it is. Of course, you got your classic rock radio stations out there on terrestrial radio that do exist. I know I'm not always listening to them, but then sometimes you might hear some classic rock stations play something more metal than they usually do, or something like or stuff like that. And then you go to like supermarkets, and now I'm on. This is a supermarket called ShopRite, which is in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Maryland areas. It's a it's a supermarket that they have over 250 stores. And believe it or not, I was reading online that somebody was shopping and heard "Shout Out the Devil" from Motley Crue when they were shopping. I thought that was kind of funny, even though I don't like Motley Crue anymore. You know, you can hear weird. You can hear like I remember back in the '80s shopping in the supermarkets with my parents because I was younger, and you would hear like you'd be lucky to hear um instrumental versions of like certain songs, even like "Stairway to Heaven," shit like that. But then even I actually heard "Don't Let It In" from Styx one time shopping back in those days. But like I said, back on the subject with what Gene Simmons says, he could say rock is dead. It's not dead.
No, definitely not.
There are some bands that have come out after this in the hard rock hair metal genre, which I call it. The bands that I listen to that had that style a little bit, but were mixed in with alternative and all that, because that's what they were as well. Like that band Hinder, they had some songs that definitely had the more hair metal sound to it. Not every one of their songs, but a few did. You got some bands like that. Buck Cherry's um, "Lit Up." That song was was liked by a lot of the some hard rock fans as well. So rock ain't really dead. Who knows why Gene Simmons is thinking about this? It's bad enough he's doing solo dates again, and he's apparently not playing on the East Coast on a few dates. But I'm passing. So is Janaki.
Yes.
And your thoughts on Gene Simmons saying rock is dead? Please leave them here. Shame, shame, shame.